Joanie, 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 Joanie. Joanie. For the love of Joan, Decilomar. This is a video I'm thinking about talking to both Joan and Elizabeth. Joan, as I've told you a number of times, but it needs to be on film, you've saved my life single-handedly. You know, Diana was always there, giving me everything she possibly could. She didn't have much time. But our neighborliness, Joan, you're like one of the best friends I've ever had. In terms of, we just get each other. Across 35 years. This is my performance capacity. And like you told me about a week ago, you have $1 million worth of hair. This YouTube channel is called Redheaded She-Hulk. And Elizabeth, because you're going to have to stream this for your grandma, so you're going to see it first. I'd like to see if we could talk about an angel investment from one of your relatives. And a very respectable small amount of capital right now. Artisanal Capital will help me do this on a stage to really bring the wise feminine. I'm a Carnegie Mellon degreed philosopher. I was a software consultant for 20 years. I moved into an apartment in Bellevue, Washington. I've been a software consultant for 20 years. That had mold behind the walls. 5 years of homelessness. And a significant portion of people in Pacific Grove are suffering. I came here to really bring well-being philosophy. I'm a philosopher of physiology, of body, mind, and soul integrated thinking, which the Western tradition is all operating, all medicine is operating on the Cartesian split, that mind, it's only the body, that science needs to be, and then fix everything in silos versus talk to the person enough to know what's going on. It is absurd. Blue Cross, this major insurer has taken away your grandmother's monthly pain shots, and she gets 3 a year. And they told her that after she'd already had 3. 92 years old, and she had a fall, an injury. And she's fallen twice since then. This angel investment, I'm literally trying to become her anti-fall consultant. I just know how bodies work. A lot of reasons, a lot of details why, but I do. I have a few people now who are willing to kind of reference. And I'm going to go to Esalen. Stop having to... Can I tell you how grateful I am? It nearly killed me to have been throwing up, to have had no food for Zanzi, to have went to Stones where they weren't answering my questions appropriately, and I had an autistic meltdown because Joan had previously had to. It's my illness that made me have to rely on her for some neighborly assistance when I just simply couldn't move this car because of how Zanzi and her traumatic brain injury. She has no balance, and she's having concussions, especially when we go up 68. That Joan has been there for me has really been life-saving in all kinds of ways. What I want to do now is get an investment, go to Esalen, have a sabbatical, a retreat, and get rid of my illness. If you can see my face, right? I know what I'm doing about changing bodies. I really do. And was what's going to help Joan regain some balance and some mental flexibility so she knows how to keep scanning the environment. She's just looking too close in. So you and I both know Cody could throw us off if he really wanted to. But the thing is we still have some distance, we're scanning the horizon. We have to. But some of the blockages and some of what the injuries did to Joan, she's really not perceiving far enough out in the environment, especially with that long leash. It's just to get one that's half as long and put a harness on him. But also you and I could help train it. That the thing just is since she's always pulling on him, Cody doesn't know when she's serious or when she's just sort of redirecting him. It's, I understand canine consciousness really, really well. So I think as broadly as my vision goes out to see the environment, that's how come I'm completely surviving on no income since the 1st of February 2012. Sorry, I saw the last two. 2012. How have I stayed alive? In the U.S. of hypocrisy, having earned $0.00. And I cannibalized all my retirement accounts to zero. And I charged on my credit cards. I self-funded my own long-term disability. Of course, I didn't think it was going to be that long-term. I have been having to need these autistic breaks for years in my software consulting. I'd pay for, I needed 3 months recharge, 4 months recharge. I would always be able to get a job. The curiousness is I stopped being able to get a job when, well, the external environment, and that's the real thing. The company got bought out by a billionaire. Hostile-ish takeover. So the software that I consulted on for 2 decades evaporated into the cloud. I was bored. 20 years doing the same thing with a brain like this. I was ready to do something, so I tried to start business after business after business. Again, degree from top-tier technical university. People should be just throwing money at me. We still are in a society that refuses to acknowledge 50-year-old women as viable economic machines. So I know your family, and especially the feminine sides, may have some money to help me. I've got a documentary. I've got my friend. We can come meet at Kundalini Yoga. She's gotten a film professor from CSUMB who might be interested, who coincidentally had a project. He's not sure he wants to do a full documentary, but wanted to work on raising awareness of homelessness. Coincidence is coincidence, coincidence. Elizabeth, you're so, I just, to have had Joan as a grandmother. My grandma never had a conversation. I never had a conversation with my mother. Your grandmother, inappropriate, she constantly tells me she loves me as a neighbor. My own mother, in a womb for 9 months, told me once in my lifetime. When I was on the gangplank going to Europe after having graduated from Carnegie Mellon, was going to live in Europe. And it went as poorly as these 5 years of homelessness where I'm trying to find an investor and start with an angel investor. It is such, we keep thinking everything is, we need the money, have to have the money. And here we have the data that having a trust fund takes away the joy that should be the due of humans in their 90s. Should it be having to fuss around? You have the money, it should be all good. Instead, Joan just, she shrivels at the strife of it all. Why? And we walk Cody 2 times a week. The conversations we have, walking Cody around. One time we did get to go out to the dunes. She was, everything. Had gotten her shots that she's now basically not gonna have for the next 9 months. I got answers. Let's help her be well. And you came and you talked like, I don't know. Walk up to a stranger you knew who's homeless, living in a car, and just have a nice little conversation. You're a spectacular woman yourself. You've got some friends who not only could help me, but would help me network to help people who can help me. So, if I had my books, I would pull out one. But Power of 8. It shouldn't just be Diana and Joan. There's all these other people in the spiritual community who are just not listening to me. I don't know why. Once we just have a few more, this foundational level of people who love, know, and trust me, who are willing to tell other people on the Monterey Peninsula because they've lived here for their whole life. All right. I don't know who's yelling. They broke my concentration. So this has been Zenzi Harmony.